Okay, everybody, this is the Okra Oracles, episode 3 of the season. We're still in our first season, and we Fair and I are chit chatting today. It might be a little less esoteric, but entertaining nonetheless. And we do have a couple of recipes or some ingredients that you might want to check out at the end of this episode. Fair had a little visitor last night. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of pass this episode over to her. She's gonna tell us a story. We're gonna go through some things. I might go over maybe some spirit animal medicine, totem animal medicine at the end of this episode. So Farah, tell us what happened last night.
So, I'll just go ahead and preface it with it's probably every woman's worst nightmare. We all think about what kind of things can be in a toilet. We all sit, we're sitters. Men sit too. Everybody poos. We all know it happens. But
Yeah,
women sit regularly, right? We always
yeah.
think about it's always in the back of your mind. You might not focus on it too much, but it's always been in the back of your mind since the beginning of time, right? So it's 2 a.m. and I get up to go to the bathroom. 2 a.m. That is not unusual for me. I fall asleep. I barely sleep. I do sleep. I drink a lot of water, everything else. Woke myself up at 2 a.m. I was like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom now. As efficient as I am,
Uh-huh.
I'm turning the light on, already
Uh-huh.
halfway there to sit all at
You're
one
on
time.
autopilot.
I was on autopilot, trying not to wake myself up because I wanted to go right back to sleep. But as soon as I opened that toilet and I slammed it so hard, I went through a myriad of emotions and thought like logical processes without being fully awake.
And you didn't have your glasses on.
And I didn't have my glasses on, but
Yeah.
I saw
So
something. And so I'm like, my
one
first
of these things is not like the other.
so my very first thought, I saw tarantula. I was like, that is a tarantula. But like, I don't live in tarantula territory. So that made no sense.
Somebody's tarantula broke
Maybe
out.
somebody's tarantula went free or something. And the next thing you know, like I grew up, my family, a lot of them are in flooring and carpeting and things like that. When they're ripping old carpet out, the edges of them fray and they turn into big
Yeah,
long
yeah.
pieces.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You scoop them all
Me
up.
too. My daddy was a contractor. We were
Yeah,
pulling up
yeah, yeah.
carpet, scraping paint.
So when those big balls of brown carpet get wadded together, that was the next image. I was like, that's what it was. That's what it was in my toilet, was this big brown wad of yellow carpet yarn. And then I, knocked myself in the head and was like, come on, girl, why is there a yarn ball in your toilet? Well, you think you slept walking through some yarn in your toilet? So I'm like, no,
Get your
that's not it.
glasses.
Get your glasses. And so I went over there as delicately and softly and cautiously as I possibly can, lit that toilet seat up. And no lie, we're gonna have this on our Patreon. We'll have the video on our Patreon because my daughter is old enough that I know that you get video of everything before you actually move forward. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
nobody would believe this story had the video not
Pics
exist.
or it didn't happen.
That's right. Pics and yeah, that's right. So I got the video real quick.
Uh-huh.
It was a baby possum. There was a baby possum in my dang toilet, and I was like,
For real.
for real. Cute as all get out, soaking wet, scared to death. And I was like, I was scared to death. It was scared to death. We were all scared to death. And so I was like, I just like slammed it back shut and
It
like,
was like this. I know
yeah,
you did send me the video this morning.
it's
The
like,
poor little thing was like,
and he's shaking, and you would think he's shaking because he's cold through the toilet water, but it's
I
it's hot where we were. No,
know.
he was just scared because
He was scared.
he'd been trying to get out, and everybody's initial reaction is, well, you have dogs and you often leave the door open. Well, I don't leave the door open in 100-degree heat, and I don't leave the door. And let's face it, I have a little beagle. There's no way any critter's getting anywhere. And
Right.
my beagle will take care of any baby. I've taken baby things out of its mouth before. So I'm like, no, that thing did not get in. And feng shui say keep your toilet lid closed. And my toilet lid is always closed.
I need
So
to
there's no
tell
way it got
my partner that.
That's right. Keep those toilet lids closed, everyone. Are you flushing all your money down the drain? So he didn't come in and get in. He somehow he 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 came from underneath. Like he came like under the like
Through a pipe.
yeah, through a pipe, through
Uh,
something. So next thing's next. I put it out there and everybody, well, what did you do? How did you get it out? So what did I do? I didn't know what to do. I was like kind of freaking out, worried, scared for him, not sure what to do with it. So I opened the Google machine and I'm just like, okay, how did he, there were lots of answers about how he got there, but that was not my first concern. My first concern was
okay.
how do I get him out? And so
Okay. I have a question.
I'm sure.
So did you, because I mean, there's viewers out there that might want to know if something like there's wildlife or something in the toilet in the house. Did you call before this? I just wanted to make sure that we touch on what actually to do
My
during the
no,
story.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. My number
Okay.
one call, because now, mind you, I know he's got to get out, but I don't know what to do with him. And I've been raised in the South, country and urban. I am a city girl, but I'm not afraid of getting dirty. But I am afraid of picking up a baby possum. I'm just gonna
Right.
go ahead and say it. I'm afraid
Yeah.
of it. So, um, yeah, my very first call was to the wildlife people, the wildlife refuge people, the people that come out and like take care of a hurt bird or hurt anything or a
And what
baby
time
that's
was this though?
2 a.m. in the morning.
So you left a message.
I didn't get nothing. You have reached us in our non-business hours. Call us again between 8 and 5. I'm like, okay, this isn't going anywhere. So
Yeah, okay.
because it's like I say 2 in the morning. By this point, it's like we're getting close to 2:30 because I've already like figured out what it is and trying to figure out what to do next, and I'm making calls. So of course, like after that, I'm like, okay, there are men in my neighborhood, not to say that women can't do it, but I wasn't doing it. It was one of those moments where I was just like, there needs to be a dude for this job, right? And I was like, I don't think any of the wives and partners and girlfriends in this neighborhood would appreciate me calling they guy at 2:30 in the morning. And
Yeah.
would they pick up anyway? So I went through that thought process. So then I called the sheriff's department. Sheriff's department was like, yeah, you're gonna need to call the wildlife people. I'm
So
like,
you
yeah,
did get an answer.
yeah. I called the
And what did they
non-emergency.
specifically say?
She was great. She said, well,
Yeah,
we
okay.
don't do that. You need to call the wildlife people. And I was like, I did, they're close. She's like, yeah, sounds about right. And she said, well, the great news is they don't carry rabies. And I said, well, thank you for telling me that because it never crossed my mind until you
That
just
was
said it.
comforting.
Yeah, very comforting because I hadn't even worried about the rabies until just now.
Uh,
And then, and so then she said, so then we were talking and she's trying to figure out how it happened too. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, but I know I got to get him out.
okay,
How do you
question.
suggest? Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
disarm her and y'all had a conversation, what, 15, at least 15, 20 minutes?
It wasn't that long.
Okay.
No, because I'm still, you know me, I can talk, but
I know. I was real curious to see how long that conversation
no,
went.
that conversation, I'd probably go back and look at it. It was probably every bit of 4 minutes, and part of that was being transferred to different departments,
Okay.
So, like, no, we talked pretty quick, and she was like, oh, bless your heart, honey, I don't know, do this. Can you get it out? Can you do this? I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I was like, it's not that I can't get it, I'm scared to get it out.
Well,
Yeah.
Mm.
So anyway, so she's like, well, let me give you to our K9 unit. I'm like, yeah, give me the dog people because they're gonna help me out, right? And
Yeah.
so they give me to the dog people, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't do that. And even if we did, we're not coming out this time of night."
We don't do that.
I was like, "Sweet. Anybody else can help me out?" And they're like, let's give you to the animal control people, and they're like, "Same answer. Yeah, we don't do that. And even if we did, we're not coming out right now."
They don't.
They don't.
do that. Okay.
Nobody does it. So here I am. I'm like, I look at this little critter, and I'm like, "We're in this together, buddy. It's me and you, man." And I
Aw.
know, sweet guy. I just wanted to get him out, so I go in with a towel.
Okay.
And I'm like ready to pick him up. I got a box
Out of the toilet?
out
Or
of the
you got him
toilet.
out of the toilet with a scooper or
So
what?
now, yeah, well, so that our listeners and viewers know, this little guy wasn't like drowning in the water the whole time. The water level had dropped low enough, probably from him coming through and disrupting something. The water level was really low, and he was just hanging out on the side, like on the beach, like a beach whale.
Like the beach part.
Yeah, he's just hanging on the side. So he wasn't in the water. His little tail was, but nothing else. So he was okay while I was doing all this. It wasn't like an emergency, but it kind of was, but he was safe. So yeah, so I went in with every, garden gloves, dish gloves. I was kept trying, and he's looking at me. doing his possum thing that his mama must have taught him because he wasn't maybe, I mean, he was definitely too young to be, he was a baby. He was too young to be away from his mom. They say if they're under, I think, 7 inches, they're too young to be away, not including their tail, too young to be away from their mom. And so
Which was much smaller than that.
he was yeah, he was probably about tops 5 inches, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. Um, so yeah, I tried every possible way, even with the towel, if I could get him out with my hands. I was afraid of him jumping out of my hands and us both freaking out and him
And
getting
dog.
and dog. Oh, I was locked in the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Managed to hide every bit of this from both of my dogs. They were as fast asleep in the bed, didn't even know what I was doing in there. Benny did come in when he heard me slam the toilet lid, but I told him to go get back in the bed. He did. And so, anyway, yeah, necessity is the mother of invention, isn't
Much.
it? So I went
You had to
around.
keep the dogs away.
I had to keep the dogs away. Had to figure out how I was getting this guy out. So I went in with this dang. I finally thought it. I was like, oh, my dogs have a brand new pooper scooper, right? I got the metal one, the industrial one from Amazon because my other one was plastic and it broke. And I'm like, this thing's only been used a couple of times. I go out there, I hose it down, because I didn't want there to be germs. Not like this critter hadn't been going through every germ possible out in the world.
know.
I still didn't want me to be responsible for germs. So I'm spraying it off, hosing it off. And girl, it was like the claw machine at the fair or the arcade. I'm like going.
Yeah, the arcade.
Yeah, this thing's got it's a chomper. Like it's got a handle and it, chomps.
Yeah.
So I like go in and like unsqueeze it and like go in and like a little bulldozer, right? Because I didn't want the teeth to clamp on him, so I kind of just opened it.
Yeah.
And that baby just kind of sat there. He put one paw in and he looked at me and he wasn't hissing anymore. And I was like, you can do it.
Okay.
We like had a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And he scooted his little body. I mean, we talked it through and he was like, okay.
We talked it through.
And there was some trust coming here.
Yeah, okay.
And so he's starting to get it. And then anyway, I got his little stuff out.
He wanted to get out of there.
He wanted out. And sometimes they just have to trust even what looks like an enemy, So we got him out, put him in a box, put a towel around him. I had, what? Many people are going to say what they would have done, could have done, should have done.
Yeah.
I did what I could, best I could at 3 o'clock in the morning at this point. And so I took him on the porch, bowl of water, towel. Mind you, it's like 80 degrees outside. So he's nice and warm, even though he's, so got to get dried off. Now, I had seen a bigger possum on my porch last week. My neighbor thinks the mama lives under her shed. So in my thoughts, I'm like, I left the box open to where he could get out. I don't believe there's any predators around here that would get him if he wasn't, he had to get out of shock or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, if you're here in the morning, you go to the wildlife people as soon as they open at 8 a.m.
If you're not,
then you found your way back to mama. And so, I got up at 6. I got 2 hours of sleep, got up at 6, and he was gone. His mom came and picked him up. She said, she said, you have a good adventurous night, little Joey. Because they're
and you're in big trouble.
You're in big trouble, young man. Yep. So that's what happened.
So everybody at work today saw it on the socials, and you were big woman on campuses with this today. Well, everybody wanted to know.
Well, everybody want to know how you got it out, because I was fairly vague. I didn't think much of it. I was just like, look at this baby that was in my toilet, and everybody's like, oh, my worst nightmare. My worst nightmare is like snakes.
Well, I mean, I would have been scared, but it was so cute.
It was so cute.
Yeah, everybody, we'll put the little video on Patreon so people. But it is on some socials.
It is. You just find me. It's not too hard.
No.
But the truth of the matter is we've all thought about it at some point, and I just always assumed it was going to be a snake. I just never. No,
when I was, I don't know how old I was, but we lived out in the Cut, South Georgia, and I do remember two snake instances. One was not plumbing. There was a little snake wrapped up on this like decorative aluminum kind of area on our back screen door.
Uh-huh.
And we were out playing or whatever, and I don't know. It's just this really hazy little memory. But I remember going and reaching with my right hand to open the screen door, and it was this little black and white snake, and it was wrapped in this aluminum decorative kind of little thing that was screwed in on the outside of the screen door. And it's like, of course, scared the shit out of me. And then the second time was my mom and dad built or added on a little, it was very small. We lived in like a 4-room cinder block house on my grandparents' farm that my great aunt uncle built basically in the middle of this uh field where they uh there was either peanuts or field corn, the kind of
Mm-hmm.
corn, not silver queen, but the kind of corn you feed to like pig, like hogs and
Yeah.
other like farm animals. But so we lived in this little house. They added on a little like master bedroom in the bathroom. And there was a little snake. At one point, I was in my parents' bathroom, like washing my hands or whatever, and there was a little tiny snake that came up out of the sink, like out
Stop.
from under the
Stop.
sink.
No.
Yes. So that was twice
Girl.
that there were wildlife like sneaking in to the house that I can think of right off the bat.
Areas
It
they did
was
not to
scary, but
be.
I was little, and it like
Yeah.
definitely made an impact.
It definitely it imprints. It does. Well, and like after all this, like after he was outside, I did get, like I said, I did get 2 hours of sleep that night, but it was not before doing mounds and mounds of research because I wanted to know how he got in. How did this happen?
Yeah,
Like how did it happen? And
right. And you said there were a couple of
couple of theories.
main.
I think I figured it out. But in the process of figuring it out, I also figured out how other things get in the toilet, which is like, now I don't think that was knowledge I
Girl,
necessarily
toilet
needed.
is a sensitive
It is a
area.
sensitive area. And so, if things are going to come up through your sewer, which that was my first reaction. I was like, where did you come from, guy? And since he
Yeah.
was wet and the toilet water was all disturbed and brown, I was like, oh, you came up through the sewer. How did you get there? Well, I researched it, and it's like, all lines lead there. And if there's a crack or a small enough hole that a small enough critter can just slither on up there, a rat, they can hold their breath for a long time. Snakes, they just come on up. There they are.
Mm.
We've all heard of like frogs getting in there. I've even seen where bats can find their way in there, probably from the attic. Now, I then did
Okay.
this is the other side, and this is what I think happened with this guy, and this is how I think bats get in. But there is a sewage pipeline, but it's a vent.
It's the vent.
It's the vent so that like you can have, yeah, this
You have
girl,
gases and stuff. Like you have,
yeah, otherwise it's
yeah.
coming into your house. You don't want to smell the
Yeah.
sewer. Like, I mean, just all these things that are all logical and processes, but more than I ever needed to know after the
Right.
ordeal, right? But so yeah, the vent goes up to your roof. It should have a screen or a cap on it probably, and then it comes down, goes over to your sinks and toilets, and and the gas goes up and the water goes down to the sewer. My thinking is I live in an old house, and
Yeah.
I think somewhere along the way the squirrels are always up there messing around, doing things. Somewhere along the way, the screen probably got knocked out, taken out something, and this poor little guy just fell all. And I was thinking, that's a long drop for a little buddy,
I
all the way down.
know.
So he wasn't in the water long. He went all the way
No, he
down and
wasn't.
all the way over,
He
and then
just
he
got
just
in there and was like, and got out.
he just had to find an out, and the out happened to be right just under, and he just like only had to swim a little bit through the water in the toilet to get out. But yeah, so
I'm so glad he was alive.
me too. Oh god, that would have traumatized me if he
I
wasn't.
know.
But so everyone make
Little
sure you
buddy.
do like your 30-point visual inspection of your toilet before you sit down.
Between
Always.
midnight and 6 a.m.
I cannot tell you the amount of people that said to me today, I always go with the light off at night. And I'm like, don't ever do that. Ever. Like, had that light been off, many, many things could have gone differently.
No, I think I'm too anxious. My light's on.
Yeah, all the
My
time.
lights on.
All the time. So yeah, we learned a lot about baby possums, how they can enter the house, how to protect your bum bum when you go night night.
Yep.
Just so many
So,
things.
speaking
Yes.
of possums, and
Yes.
speaking of our podcast,
That's right.
there's a few little southern uh recipes slash ingredients that may or may not include possum. Not necessarily cute little baby possums, but historically, possums have been utilized. So we're gonna hit some highlights on some recipes and an ingredient or two.
Yeah.
I hope this isn't inappropriate, but this is what we're doing.
Yeah, it's
And this is
historical.
how we roll. So I know you kind of fell down a rabbit hole a little bit about using possum or using the possum name
The possum name. Yeah,
in a recipe. So
yeah, I don't think I could actually. I mean, I know it's
no, no,
historically been used. I don't think I could, but
yeah.
different cultures, different places. But yeah, Southern culture is known for, possum as an ingredient. In Australia, it's known,
Wild animals like
yeah, wild
hunting,
animals,
smaller wild
deer,
ant. Yeah,
game, things like that. That's right.
yeah.
And, one of the interesting things about the possum being so slow and having such a slow metabolism,
Mhm.
they fatten up really easily. So a lot of time, back in the olden days, they would fatten them up and use them as like it's just a
As
meat,
a protein,
as
yeah.
a protein. Yeah. Now, do we need to do that? No.
No,
But I'm not saying that, if you do that,
yeah.
nothing wrong with that because,
All you, yeah.
it's all you. And we can't say one animal is any better to eat than another.
I
People,
wonder what I wonder what it
bet you it
tastes
tastes
like.
gamey. I'm going to go with gamey.
Tastes like chicken.
It
Tastes
tastes
like
like, probably
chicken.
tastes like chicken. I guarantee you it tastes like gamey chicken.
Tastes like dark meat.
Yeah, it has to probably. Yeah,
But you
so
look, we talked about a recipe. I just want to introduce this because when you first told me about this recipe, it reminded me of a recipe slash dessert that I would see or definitely put on a plate at like a Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter family Southern function.
yeah,
Like tasty, but like straight up could be in a casserole dish.
girl,
So yeah.
it is on the table in the fellowship hall at the church.
And
No matter what they're doing, there's
thank
probably three
you.
of them. You know that.
Easter in the fellowship
Easter, that's
hall.
right. We are having a spread, and three different people
And
brought it.
what is the name of this recipe?
It's
And
called
tell me the ingredient.
possum pie. Possum
Possum
pie.
pie. It's a dessert, y'all.
It's a dessert, not a casserole, not a pot pie, not like a chicken pot pie or possum pot pie, but it
It's
is.
actually not a protein based pie.
Well, that's right. It's
It
sugar,
is.
lots of sugar, but it's a pecan crust with like sugar and crumbled up, and so you got pecan crust, you got a
Like
cream
as the shell, like
as the shell,
the
uh-huh.
bottom. Okay.
Yeah, which
Okay.
that alone is unique because it's either always graham cracker or flour, or sometimes keto has an almond crust. There's pecans on the bottom, and so it's pecan bottom.
We have pecan. Pecan.
We agree.
Pecan.
Pecan and pecan. I know.
We have my grandma. Oh my god, we had so many pecan groves in South Georgia. So this is like tugging at my heartstrings. So go ahead. Sorry, I was thinking pecan.
Yeah. So we got the crust. We got a cream cheese. You can mix cream cheese with sugar. Make it taste like
it has
cream
to.
cheese.
Has to.
And then you top that with chocolate pudding. And an optional step, it's entirely up to you. You can top that with vanilla pudding. And then you put whipped cream on top. And that's it.
Or Cool Whip.
Or Cool Whip. That's right. Now, why do they call it possum pie? Because all that decadence and all that sweet meets tangy, meets crunchy, meets like savory and sugary and delicious.
Pecan.
It's all hiding under the whipped cream layer. Like a possum.
Or Cool Whip.
It's playing possum underneath the Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Possum pie. Oh my god.
I might be. What's the next holiday? Probably Thanksgiving. I might be making that for Thanksgiving this year. We go to Mama's house.
We got 4th of July. You make it to a 4th of July.
Oh, 4th of July.
Everybody needs a possum pie for the 4th of July. Woo! Rhyming. Yeah.
That sounds really good, actually.
Yeah.
We won't be hitting people up. I don't think we'll be hitting people up on this episode as far as like actual possum meat.
Yeah.
But I think this possum pie dessert would be super tasty. So,
You want to get real fancy? You get real fancy. You could like put just whole pecans on top of the Cool Whip.
oh yeah, caramelize. Roll them
Yeah,
around in some
roll in some
brown sugar.
Oh yes, girl.
Yeah,
You get
stick them
even
in the
fancier.
oven.
You can get fancier. Put a little cayenne in your brown sugar, and then like give them a little heat because heat spice is the only thing
Oh
not
my
in all
god, that
those.
sounds so.
I
And yeah,
know.
crumble it and put them on the top. Shit,
Mm-hmm.
I could just eat that as is.
Yep.
Um, so I just wanted to take a second, and since we were talking about possums, and we want to go a little tiny bit esoteric, just a little bit, and maybe touch on some possum animal medicine, possum medicine that may or may not um be relevant for your day since you had it in the middle of the night. I don't know how your day went. I know selling real estate, girl, it can be an animal house, but I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of possum medicine knowledge since that was something that kind of happened to you today. And I love a good like spirit animal reading. So
Same.
I have an older kind of book that my astrologer we told her the story about it. My astrologer took one of her little sacred books and sent us some possum medicine slash energy words of wisdom this morning. So here we go, everybody. Possum's greatest form of protection is to play dead. Okay, number one, Fair did a little rabbit hole today, and their greatest form of protection may be to act dead, but Farah learned also today that it is a physical reaction, right?
Right.
Like a fainting goat.
Yeah, it's a physiological reaction to fear.
Yeah.
We it's involuntary. They can't help it. They're afraid of a predator, and so physiologically they just fall over dead or
So they're
they
not
play dead.
playing.
They're
They're
not
not
playing.
playing.
They said that
So
that's one of the greatest humans are like their greatest problem is a possum because we're always like a lot of times people will find what they think is a dead one and bury it, throw it in the trash or whatever. And it's actually alive. It just hasn't woken up yet. And then of course, because they're always hunting at night, they get hit by
they are
cars. They get hit by cars
hit
and they're
by
so
cars a
slow.
lot.
They're so slow that they get hit by, that's why quote unquote roadkill, we
Yeah.
always are seeing poor baby, not the baby babies, but just poor possums in general. Yeah, but yeah, so they're not
Yeah.
playing dead. They actually are.
It's like a fainting goat.
It's a fainting goat.
Like the same kind of
Response.
idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So but coincidentally, the possum's greatest form of protection is actually to pretend or play or pass out.
Yeah.
And they seem to be dead or fainting. To other animals, for sure, they seem to be dead, but they're not. So, in doing this, a possum confuses many a predator into believing that the game is over. But oftentimes, the confused rival walks away or looks the other direction for a moment, and the possum can run away to safety. Possum medicine uses a great deal of strategy. So we're needing some strategy today. If all else fails, possum can play dead, which we already talked about. They don't necessarily play dead. It's a physiological response to being startled. It has the ability to fight with its claws. It has the ability to fight with its claws and teeth, but it rarely uses this form of protection. Instead, the supreme strategy of diversion is constantly employed when things get a little too hard to handle. But possum has turned up in your cards, Farah. So not necessarily in your cards, but in your toilet, girl.
That took some strategy too.
Girl, you are being asked to use strategy in some present situation. Rely upon your instincts, and you have fabulous instincts, for the best way out of a tight corner. A possum may be relaying to you that you are to expect the unexpected and be clever, and you are an extreme. Fair, you're one of the most clever people I know. So you ain't got
Thanks,
a problem with
girl.
it. You ain't got a problem with this.
Well, even that
Be,
was just that was the unexpected, and I had to get clever to get. I mean,
you
like the
absolutely,
possum medicine came to me as the possum situation.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, no, it's true.
Yeah.
You be clever in achieving your victory. And that baby was not there when you woke up. And we're like hoping and praying that that baby is with this man. So possum is beckoning you to use your brain, which you ain't got a problem doing. You're one of the smartest people I know. Sense of drama, girl, you're a Gemini, so
I
we
am
got no
so
problem with
dramatic,
that.
so dramatic.
You're a Gem. We got no problem with that.
None. If there is a drama to be had, I'm drawing it in.
Thank you, possum. It's a prize to leap over some barrier to your progress and success. So
That's
that was
good.
a great day. That was a good day.
That's
Thank
a
you,
good day.
possum.
Thank you, baby possum.
I know.
A friend of mine called it Blossom the possum.
That's
I
sweet.
thought it was maybe, I thought about calling it Betty for Betty White. I had just this image of Betty White at the end of Lake Placid
Because you wanted to
feeding
keep
that
it.
geller. I
Because you
did.
wanted to keep it.
Actually, you really have to look up. Some states it's illegal to keep them as pets. So I didn't look up North Carolina because I wasn't going to even give myself an out one way or the other. I was just, I don't know if it's in my state. I don't know, but
Uh-huh.
I wasn't, my beagle was not going to let me keep this thing. It
No,
was not
no,
going to
no, no. It
happen.
wasn't the right
It was
time.
not going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good story. That's,
Yeah, we got a little animal medicine out of it
yes, we did.
this evening.
And a
So,
possum pie. A possum pie.
which sounds pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Um, so viewers, we are going to post a little cute little short video. The possum, we are sure that the possum is doing fine.
Oh, we are pretty sure. I think he's
Yeah,
back with his mama.
Farrah bathed it and took care of it and put it on her front porch. It's nice and warm in Wilmington. So that sweet baby's gonna be fine. It's back with his mama. But we appreciate you guys checking out this episode of the Okra Oracles.
And remember, ladies,
And
keep those toilet lids down.
girl, keep the toilet lid
Keep those
down.
toilet lids.
Turn the light on.
Turn the light on.
When you're
That's
in there
right.
because you just don't know.
You never know.
You never know.
It would have been the last thing I would have ever thought of. It was a possum.
I know.
Last thing.
So next episode, we're not quite sure what we're gonna do. There might be a pirate. There might be Beltane. There might be some sort of pagan little esoteric, not little, but there might be some sort of so we just passed. What do we just pass? Our
solstice.
Summer equinox solstice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're planning some fun and cute information, stories, and anecdotes for our next episode. So thank you guys for listening, and
yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and thanks for subscribing, and thanks for keeping up with us. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Love
Bye.
you, Fair.
Love
Bye.
you, Valley. Bye.
Love you. Bye.